Okay, so number 5, renal heart disease due to hypertension. So we're going to highlight this entire section here, copy it, and paste it to our search engine. Okay. So renal heart disease is what's going on with this patient. Now, he got the renal heart disease because of the hypertension. So we're needing to code the renal heart disease. Now, when I enter that information, the options that I see here are primarily hypertension. So they're coding the hypertension before the renal heart disease, if that makes sense, as a primary diagnosis. And so that's not what we're looking for in this instant. Okay, so that's very important for you to see. The question is renal heart disease due to hypertension. So this is a disease, but it was caused by the hypertension. When we look at the results that we got here, it does mention the kidneys here, but again, it's hypertensive chronic kidney disease, and that's not really what we're looking for. So I'm going to delete the due to hypertension, and I'm going to run that search again, just renal heart disease, and let's see what our options are. Okay, so here we're seeing more kidney hypertensive heart and chronic kidney disease. That looks pretty close to what we are trying to get, because all the other ones like malignant, we never said this was a neoplasm. Hypertensive chronic kidney disease, not really. Yeah, the leaving out the renal heart disease. Let's see. So yeah, none of these others look like they're going to come even close. So I'm going to select the I-13 and open that up. Okay, and it says renal heart disease due to hypertension. So hypertensive heart and chronic kidney disease with heart failure. Well, our question doesn't say anything about heart failure. It just says renal heart disease due to hypertension. So that wouldn't be it. Hypertensive heart and chronic kidney disease without heart failure. So yeah, it doesn't say anything about heart failure, so that's looking more like my answer right here. Now this one says hypertensive heart and chronic kidney disease with heart failure and stage 1 through 4. So yeah, that wouldn't be our correct answer, because our code or our term has nothing to do, or diagnosis has nothing to do with heart failure. It's not mentioned. So I'm going to click on this plus here and see what our other options are. Hypertensive heart and chronic kidney disease without heart failure. So they're both pretty much the same up to right here. This one's saying with stage 5 chronic kidney disease or end-stage renal disease. So we don't have any of this information to pick this one as our option. And the second one says with stage 1 through 4 chronic kidney disease or unspecified chronic kidney disease. So we don't know what stage, whether it's end stage, whether it's 1, whether it's 4. So our question doesn't have that information. So this would be the code for our number 5, I-13.10. So I'm going to click on that just to see what's going on this page. So here is this one right here. If we hadn't opened the this little box right here, and let's say we went with just hypertensive heart and chronic disease without heart failure, let's say, okay, yeah, that's ours, that's the one we need, and we click on it. Okay, see this little red flag here is telling you, okay, this isn't a valid code. It needs a 5th character. And so if you use this, it'll be incorrect. Even though you're just a couple of numbers off, it's still incorrect. The insurance will deny it and you won't get paid for it. So make sure that if this little flag is there, you go down and select from these 2 options what you would use for your diagnosis, okay? So I13.10 is what we had determined that was our code. But now look, let's keep looking. It says use additional code to identify the stage of kidney. So we don't have that information, so we don't need to worry about that. Hypertensive heart disease and hypertensive chronic kidney disease. So these these would follow onto this category as well. So our answer is I13.10. So I'm going to plug that in. I13.10. Okay. Number 6, essential hypertension with congestive heart failure. Okay, so I'm going to just copy all of that. And let's see what we get, because that's what we've been doing. See what our options are. Okay, essential hypertension, congestive heart failure. So this is essential primary hypertension. So our question does not say anything about primary. So that would not be a good choice. Our next option says hypertensive heart disease. So that looks pretty close to what we're looking for. Other pulmonary heart disease, no. Hypertensive heart and chronic kidney disease, doesn't say anything about chronic kidney disease. So I'm going to go with I11, and I'm going to open that little plus box to see what falls underneath. So hypertensive heart disease with heart failure. Okay, so let's click on that. That looks pretty close. Okay. It says hypertensive heart disease with heart failure. It says use additional code to identify type of heart failure. So do we know what type of heart failure this condition has? Let's take a look at our question. Well, it's a congestive heart failure. So this congestive part right here is what identifies what type of heart failure this patient is having. So we do need to go back and code. This is an additional code for our answer. So the first code is I11.0 for the hypertensive heart disease with heart failure. Okay, so we're going to put that on there. I11.0 is our first answer. But this is telling us right here, use additional codes to identify what type of heart failure. So let's click on this little hyperlink here. It's going to take us to this page. Okay, so we're looking for congestive heart failure. Okay, so this one is just saying, just plain Jane heart failure. So this is not really what we're looking for, because it doesn't say congestive heart failure. The second code, or the second section of codes, see 150, and then we have 150.1, left ventricular. So our question doesn't mention it, whether it's left or right ventricular. It doesn't say if it's systolic. So this wouldn't be our correct code. Diastolic, again, it doesn't give us this information, so this wouldn't be the correct code for us to use. So let's keep going down. And I'm mainly using the code furthest to the left because, again, if this doesn't work, everything that falls underneath it is not going to work either. Okay, so that's why I'm just bypassing all of this information here. And the same thing here. The systolic heart failure, this was not our diagnosis, so I'm just skipping all of this because it doesn't, none of these options will work. Same thing here. Okay, So let's say, do we know whether it's combined? Nope, we don't know whether it's combined because our question didn't say that it was combined or not. So I'm going to keep going. Other heart failure, yeah, that could be right, but look, it's saying this code's not going to work without your fifth characters, and your fifth characters are right ventricular acute, right? So that right there tells me, nope, this is not going to work because it's identifying which side of the heart, and our question doesn't give us that. So I'm going to keep going down. None of these work. So heart failure, unspecified. Well, it is specified, but look, under I50.9, if we have congestive heart disease or heart failure, congestive heart failure, this code works. So this is our second diagnosis so that we can diagnose the congestive heart failure. So this question here has two diagnoses, I50.9. This one would diagnose the essential hypertension with heart failure. This I50.9 is identifying what kind of heart failure, which is the congestive heart failure. So those are the two diagnoses that you'll need for that, for number 6. Again, let's say you only did the I11.0. You will not get partial credit for this answer because if you bill that, you didn't identify the congestive heart failure and the insurance is going to kick it back. So the insurance won't accept it, so we don't accept it either. So you have to have both codes and they both have to be correct in order for you to receive full credit, or in order for you to get the answer correct. I don't give partial credits when you were looking up codes. Okay? Again, I know this is a lot to take in, and you're going to need to just get in there and work through it. If you're needing my help with anything, if there's a particular question that you're just not sure about, shoot me an email. If I'm in my office and I have time for a call, we can get on a phone call, but I'd rather you send me an email to make sure, first, that I'm in my office, and second, that I'm able to take your call. I would hate for you to call me and I not be available for you. I really wouldn't like for that to happen to you all. So good luck. I know I will be uploading more videos as you work along. There's different scenarios to look up and code, and so I will have other shorter videos to kind of just dive in and give you examples and work through them, and that way we can identify and code these properly. Again, call me or email me if you need help with anything. Thank you.